What are some of the biggest car buying mistakes and regrets that could end up costing you a fortune? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. For this video, I'm going to share 10 major car buying mistakes that could cost you a ton of money, keep you in debt, and make you regret your purchase later on. After 10 years as a car buying consultant, these are the mistakes that I see consumers make over and over again, leaving them shaken. But that won't happen too, because I'm going to show you how to avoid them and save yourself a ton of money. But before we get into it, remember, if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications. And a huge thanks to OMVIC, Ontario's vehicle sales regulator, for sponsoring a portion of this video. So let's start off with the first major car buying mistake that could end up costing you a ton of money, which is waiting until the last possible minute to buy a new car. I've seen this one happen over and over again. Buying a car is nothing like buying another product. It's not like a TV where you can wait until it breaks down and then just go into a store and replace it with a brand new one right away. If you do that with a car, chances are you're going to rush the process and make a few mistakes. You might have to compromise and buy something right off the dealer lot that might not be exactly what you want or something that fits in your budget, and you could end up overpaying. When buying a car, you have to take your time to do a lot of research and see all the different options that are available to you. This could take a few weeks or even a few months, especially if you want to order a high-demand brand new car that has a really long waiting period. And not only do you want to avoid rushing the process and buying a car at the last possible minute, but another major car buying mistake that you want to avoid is buying the wrong car for your situation. Buying the wrong type of car for you, whether it's because of the price, the payments, or a number of other factors, could be a huge mistake that you could regret later on, and it could end up costing you a ton of money. Say for example, you're someone on a tight budget and just needs a basic car for going from A to B. Well, you don't need to be wasting your money on a super expensive, large SUV or pickup truck or something like that. Not only are these type of vehicles going to be way more expensive to buy, but they also have much higher operating costs in terms of spending money on gas, maintenance, and repairs. And the amount of money they can cost you in the end could be shocking. If all you're looking for is transportation, then there's nothing wrong with just going for a basic economy car, like a small sedan or hatchback, or maybe even a hybrid or a small SUV. Because these type of cars are way less costly in almost every single way, including the purchase price, gas, maintenance, repairs, and even insurance. And this ties very closely with the next major car buying mistake that can cost you a lot of money, which is not considering reliability and resale value. It is extremely important that you buy a car that has a good reputation for reliability, especially if you have a sensitive budget and if you're buying a car for long-term ownership to hold on to for a long time. Buying a car that has a strong reputation for reliability could potentially mean saving thousands of dollars in repairs every single year, not to mention saving yourself a ton of headaches. And not only that, but when you buy a car that has a good reputation for reliability, that's known for having not a lot of repair issues, it's generally going to have much better resale value as well. In general, consumers want to buy a car that's not going to give them problems, which is why cars that have strong reliability are really good at maintaining their value even after 5 to 10 years. So even if you're not a long-term person and plan to trade or sell the car after a few years, at least you know you're going to get a lot more of your money back, as opposed to a car that doesn't have a good reputation and is pretty much going to be worthless. And that is why I make so many videos and car reviews that focus on reliability, dependability, and resale value, because these are some of the best ways to save your money in the long run. And this one also ties really closely to the next major car buying mistake, which is not considering maintenance and repair costs. Unfortunately, not all cars are created equal when it comes to their operating costs. Some can be surprisingly expensive when it comes to maintenance and repairs. Here in North America, that's especially true of a lot of European luxury brands, which can easily cost 2 to 3 times more in terms of maintenance and repairs versus a mainstream non-luxury car. Now, this might not be an issue if you're just leasing a new car for 3 to 4 years under the warranty period, but if you're shopping on the used car market, don't be deceived by the really low prices on a lot of luxury cars. There is a really good reason why a lot of these cars lose a lot of their value and become seemingly affordable to buy. Just because you can afford the purchase price doesn't mean that you can afford the maintenance and repairs. I've seen many consumers who have bought a used luxury car for what seemed like a really good price, say around 20 grand, only to spend another 20 grand in repairs in just the first couple of years. Buying a cheap luxury car or an unreliable car is a really easy way to drown yourself in debt and empty your bank account. So if you're on a tight budget, make sure that you're buying a reliable car that has reasonable operating costs. And even better yet, find yourself a really good mechanic to save yourself a lot of money on repairs too. And that brings us to the next major car buying mistake that can cost you a ton of money, which is not budgeting correctly and not following the 20, 4, and 10 rule. In today's world of $1,000 a month car payments and the average price of a car being around 50 grand, I have no doubt that a lot of consumers are overpaying and buying a car that's way more expensive than they can comfortably afford. And in order to avoid that and make sure that you're buying a car that's within your budget, you need to follow the 20-4-10 rule. This means that with whichever car that you're buying, you should be able to make a 20% down payment, finance it on a term that's a maximum of 4 years, maybe 5 years at the absolute most. And you also need to make sure that your total monthly expenses don't exceed 10% of your income. So say you have an income of around $70,000 a year. Well, in that case, you should not be spending more than $700 a month on all your car expenses, including your insurance, maintenance, gas, and your car payment. And if you're not able to make a 20% down payment or afford the payments on a 4-year loan, well, that just means the car that you're looking at is too expensive for your budget and you need to be shopping for a less expensive car. Which brings us to the next major car buying mistake, which is going for a long-term loan. This has to be one of the most common and costly mistakes that I see a lot of consumers make. Say you're looking at a car that costs $40,000. Well, on a 4-year loan, that means your monthly payment is going to be over $800 per month. But if you stretch out that loan to 7 years, suddenly your payment drops to below $500 a month, making that car seem like it's a lot more affordable. And that's one of the issues with long-term loans. They make cars seem a lot more affordable than they really are. It is not a good idea to finance a car over 7 to 8 years because a car is a depreciating asset, which means that if you take a long time to pay it off, chances are it's going to be worth a lot less than what you owe, at least for the first few years. And if you're a short-term person who likes to get a new car every few years, or if you run into an emergency where you need to replace your car all of a sudden, well, if you owe more money than what your car is worth, you're going to need to roll all that debt into a brand new car loan. And this is how a lot of consumers end up in an enormous amount of debt. So try your best to pay off the car within 4 to 5 years. And whatever you do, try to avoid super long car loans. Now, not every car buying mistake involves buying a car from a dealership. Sometimes you can also lose a lot of money when buying a car through a private sale as well. And one of those mistakes is buying a car from a curbsider. In Ontario, dealers must be registered with OMVIC and are bound by certain rules and regulations. Curbsiders, however, are individuals who pose as private sellers, but they are in the business of buying and selling cars without a license, which is illegal in Ontario. And the danger here is that they might be misrepresenting themselves and the cars that they're selling a car with a salvage title that's been in a serious accident, or a car with a rolled back odometer, or a car that's basically junk. And the other issue is that when you buy a car from a curbsider, your protection in terms of consumer rights is extremely limited. So for maximum consumer protection, the safest thing to do is to buy from a licensed dealership. But if you are buying from a private sale, make sure that the seller is the actual owner of the car. And that brings us to the next major car buying mistake that can cost you a lot of money, which is overpaying for a car. Unfortunately, it's somewhat wishful thinking to assume that the dealership that's closest to your area is going to give you the best price or even a fair deal. If you're shopping for a used car, you should shop every single used car that's available roughly within a 60-mile or 100-kilometer radius of your home. And make sure that you're shopping every single used car market so that you see every car that's for sale and you can see which one is offering the best value and the best price. And if you're buying a brand new car, it's always a great idea to check the car manufacturer website so you know what the baseline price that you should be paying should be. So say for example you're buying a brand new Honda. All you have to do is go to the Honda website and it's going to show you what the baseline price that you should be paying is, including all the mandatory fees and the sales tax. And if you can negotiate an even lower price, that's great. But at least this way you know what the maximum price you should be paying is. And if the dealership is attempting to charge additional fees or add-ons, or a markup that's higher than the price that you see online, you can negotiate them out of the deal, or you can just shop at a different dealership and get a better price elsewhere. And that brings us to the next car buying mistake, which is paying for unnecessary add-ons. Unfortunately, there is a possibility of coming across a dealership that's going to attempt to sell you all kinds of expensive add-ons that you don't necessarily need. These can come in the form of interior or exterior protection packages, warranty and maintenance plans, wheel and tire packages, and security and etching protection. There are an endless number of products that a dealership could potentially sell you. And in some cases, the dealership might even tell you that they're mandatory and they can't even be negotiated out of the price, which is not right. And another reason why it's best to shop around, so that you can find an honest, transparent dealership that's not going to play those kind of games. And even if you know that you're getting a really good price for the car that you're buying, you want to make sure that you avoid the last car buying mistake that could cost you a lot of money, which is leaving money on the table with your trade-in car or your lease return. If you have a car that you're returning or trading into the dealership, you want to make sure that you're getting the maximum value for it. And don't assume the price the dealership is giving you is the best offer available. You need to be willing to shop around if you want to maximize the value of your trade-in. This is why you need to take advantage of online tools like instant cash offer tools to get real-world offers and find out what the real value of your car is. And if you find out that your trade-in car or your lease return are worth a lot more money than what you owe, well, the dealership should be giving you that equity in the form of a discount on the new car. So by maximizing the use of all these different strategies, you're not only going to save yourself a lot of money in the short term, but you're also going to save a lot of money in the long run. Remember, a car is a really expensive and an important purchase, and you want to make sure that you're doing it right. So let me know what you thought of this video, and if you have any suggestions for any future car videos, just leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.